What's up, everybody? It's your girl Q1, and I am back with another episode of BMF Season 4, Episode 3, Good Fate. Y'all, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell button so you can be updated on every video that I drop. And make sure y'all liking the video so we can kind of stay in the algorithm of things. Alright? Alright. Alright. So, we get a flash. The episode starts with a flashback to Mexico. Meech, Loco, and Terry, they're somebody's hiding them under, because they're trying to get out of Mexico back into the States. They're in this little, it's an area that I guess they created in the truck that Meech and Terry and Loco are riding under. So the car stops, and it's three guys, and they get into the trunk and open that little part that was in the trunk where Terry and Meech and them were. They pull out blickies. I'm sorry, y'all. They put the blickies out on them or whatever. And so, of course, they all had to fight their way out. Now, those three guys, I guess they tried to rob the driver and the passenger. They end up unaliving them. And so, Loco said that those people they probably was good people, but unfortunately they were unalive. And Loco, Terry, and Meech finally, they got the car, they got into the truck after everybody was unalive, and they leave out. This is what Terry realized. Meech went from we to I. We, he, and me. Okay? And Terry is learning that really quick. So I guess this is probably what a divide starts with the both of them. I don't know, because y'all, I don't really know that story like that. You know what I'm saying? So in the next scene, Terry's pissed off at Meech. That Meech sent that work over to Jay Pusher. So Markeisha actually shows up at Terry's house asking, why everything hasn't been shipped, like why people don't have their supply. And so he was like, when I find out why everything has been rerouted, then I'm gonna come to you. Which I do not feel like that Terry should be working with Markeisha. I just think, I don't know. And I get, well, you know what, we'll get there. So in the next scene, Duffy and Meech are talking. And so Duffy confesses to Meech the person that he unalived in Detroit, because he was like, I think it did something to him to know that the Detective Vaughn was in Atlanta where they are. And so Duffy confesses, like, Meech was like, I know you already unalived somebody. But Duffy was like, yeah, you know that, but you don't know who it was. So apparently, this kid that Duffy unalived was an All-American basketball player who just signed to the league. Was getting ready to, he was like, he had his whole life ahead of him. But he was like, I was sent to do a job, and the person who he was supposed to do the job on wasn't there. So it was his little brother that was there. I was like, oh, wow. So on the next scene, Breeze, he's talking to Nicole. And they talking about what happened, her arrest or whatever, that she has an attorney, yada yada yada. And so again, this is not gonna work, this Breeze and Nicole thing. I just feel like people are too young to be trying to get into some full-blown relationship, especially when y'all going to college together. Because baby, all he did was take a look at them two girls, and he was like, Nicole who? All right, moving forward. So after she get off the phone with her boyfriend, she goes downstairs, and we see Raw Dog, because Raw Dog is my guy. Okay, I love him. So Raw Dog bring Pastor Lucille bags downstairs, and she was like, so what, she think I'm gonna go and have an orgy? Like, so Lucille don't want Nicole to travel to Atlanta by herself. And I was just like, Lucille pissing me off. She was all right episode 1. Lucille, like, starting to piss me off. Okay, Lord, dear Lord, talk to your girl, because your girl pissing me off. So Meech, we get over in Atlanta to Meech's house. He got this girl over there straddling him with a little thong on, and then he about to tap that yada yada yada. So he gets a knock on the door, and it's Terry, Pastor Lucille and Nicole. Now he was like, I didn't know they was coming this early. And so the girl, fixed herself. So Lucille is walking the door off rip, passing judgment. Talking about it's gonna be me or her who gonna be staying here. Lucille, if you don't go sit your funky ass down, because you pissing me off too. Like when I tell Lucille has been y'all, I'm hot, okay? Lucille has done pissed me off, and we just started this doggone episode. And I think her demeanor and the way she's coming at people, that is okay. And I think back then, that's how they would come at people. And it's like, when we think about it now, that's not okay. Like that's not okay. Like, you can't Bible thump everybody. And I'm gonna tell y'all, I fully love the Lord. I know I go to, like, I was in church often. It doesn't change, like, me not being there. I have a church home and everything, y'all. Like, but it's just a way that you do things, and it is a way, like, people go about doing things now. It's the judgment that a lot of people kind of shy away from. I'm just saying, like, you ain't have to like it, but this is what's happening. This the judgment. So Lucille walks on a Morris Brown campus, and they got this little young tender looking at her, and she looking at him, smiling, her and her damn bob. Ma'am, if you don't get your holy eyes off this little boy, okay? And so there was a woman there. She's at another what they call it, booth, and she's an AKA. So she goes up to Lucille, and they talk about their favorite authors. And so she was like, who are you pledging with? And Lucille was like, well, I just thought that was some type of cliquey thing, so I really don't do for sororities. And so she was offended. She was like, clique? She was like, my daughter is going to be, what did they call it? Legacy. And she was like, Lucille was like, well, my daughter got her own mind, and she going to do whatever she want to do. So the lady was like, well, my daughter's going to come here for pre-med. So Lucille was like, you know what? Goodbye. So then she gets Nicole and was like, we got to talk about your major. Lucille, stop. So go on to the next scene. So we find out it was an ex-co-worker that was selling a car on the side, which was why Nicole got arrested. It was somebody named Kenny Johnson, and it was the Honda that they sold, that Meech bought for Nicole, the only one that was stolen. So Terry suggests that, because they talked to the lady at the dealership, she came over to Meech's house. Terry actually suggests that they move their business elsewhere, but Meech was like, no. Meech is just like, we gonna do what I say, is my way or the highway. At some point, it really did stop being them, and it started being Meech and then Terry. I tell you what to do, and y'all do that. Like, if I'm gonna talk to Huey, if y'all need to talk to me, you talk to Huey, and Huey, you come talk to me. It was just like, it was really one of those situations, right? So my dog, Raw Dog, Charles Raw Dog Flannery, okay, he's sitting down eating at Terry's little restaurant or whatever, with diner, and he's sitting at the diner at the booth or whatever, and the lady, there's a song playing, and so Charles immediately picks up on that. She has a beautiful voice, picked up on her voice. So immediately he was intrigued with this chocolate young thing named Cecilia, okay? So he was like, well, what's your name? And she was like, I'm Cecilia. And so he was like, I'm Charles Raw Dog Flannery. You heard me? He didn't say that. He didn't say that, but he was very polite about it. He was like, I'm Charles Raw Dog Flannery. You heard me? I got the D. I got what you want. Baby, you want me to sing with you? I can sing with you. Baby, when I tell y'all, Raw Dog gave Onk. Listen, at this point, he not even Onk, but he gave BDE in that moment, and I was here for it. I was like, Charles, Bernard, okay? I wasn't mad at it, okay? So they exchange phone numbers, y'all. I mean, no, I'm lying. I'm lying. Hold on. So they talk, and immediately you can tell Raw Dog, my dude Raw Dog is interested. Okay, he is interested in Cecilia. Okay, so he just left it like that. In the next scene, so let me backtrack real quick. When Lucille walked in the door in Meech's door, passing judgment on the young lady Meech house, it was a nice house, but she didn't want that young lady there. Talking. I think she called it the house of whores, and then told them, y'all gonna go to church with me in the morning because y'all need to be in church. Lucille just, let me tell y'all, I really like Lucille, okay? But the moment they gave her them damn white robes, she done got beside herself, okay? She been pissing me off since. So they go to church, her, Nicole, Meech, and Terry. They go to church. And so, no, I'm lying. Meech goes upstairs, and he gave Pastor a mink coat, but she said she declined the mink coat. I'm telling you, y'all, it's something about Lucille, like, she don't want to be in a space of lack anymore. And she's just not there. Like, now you're starting to take their dirty money that, I want to say she said that in season 1. But then she got tired of Charles not being able to provide in a way that she feel like he should be providing. So she said that, she was like, I can't take this, Meech, yada yada yada. So Meech was like, well, they talk about church, and she was like, so he said, I watch you give all of your money to, basically he tell her, I watched you give all of your money to the church, meanwhile we struggling, but I have the money, so I can't get you a mink coat, because she was like, I'm just trying to set an example for the church. And so that's when he made that comment, like, I watched you give the church all of your money, okay? And I'm now in a space that I have it, even though it's illegal, but I still have it to provide for my family, because you took care of me, and I want to be able to make sure you guys are okay. So Lucille was like, I hear what you're saying, but So anyway, the next day, I want to say it was the next morning, they end up going to church. The first thing I peeped was a valet. Who church have a valet? And Michelin Park's valet. Okay? That was first of all, that was red flag number 1 for me. I would never go in that church where they got a valet driver. Okay? Second, apparently, now I wasn't mad at this, but one of the girls is a dancer, and she was at church, and so there was like, oh, I'm sorry, y'all, hold on. Anyway, sorry about that, y'all. So the girl was a dancer, but you know what? I might be a dancer at night, but I'm gonna go serve the Lord in the morning. Don't judge me, okay? Don't judge me, all right? So then we see the men who, the people who be driving those trucks with the money in it. They was putting the money in the trucks. There are some ATMs in the church. That is red flag number 2, that I would never be a member of said church, okay? So then, this was red flag number 3 for me. It was the usher who had a whole perm, okay? And he ushered them to a spot in the front. And the spot in the front was, I need a tip. Because he held his hand out like this. Like, sir, what you want? I can shake your hand, and I can tell you God bless you, but what I'm not finna do is give you a tip for sitting me at the front. And let's talk about that. That is that's red flag number 3. Because the only way you can sit in the front of the church is if you got the coin at some of these churches. Okay, it may be your church, but I tell you that's not my church. All right, I can sit at the front of my church. Okay, I can sit on the front row. Okay, we like that. We real regular around that. And if you're one of my church members, y'all know your girl be hit and miss. But y'all, I love y'all. Okay, I love my church. They know me. They know. All right. So if you do go to my church, go ahead and tap on and do not tap in the name of the church. But go ahead and tap in and say what's up, okay? In the comments below, all right? Anyway, just don't show this to my pastor. All right, I love my pastor and my bishop. Anyway, so that was that. Then if it don't get no red flaggier than this, y'all got Clifton Powell, aka Pinky, the pastor, the overseer, bishop, minister, whomever of the church, and he's a prosperity preacher. Okay, he gonna speak to your pockets, and he gonna speak to your vulnerability, so you can come up out of your pockets. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all, but my view, my channel, my view, this is how I see it. I love the Lord, and there is nothing. It's just nothing in between, nothing on the outside. I love the Lord, and that's just where it starts and stops. That's what I meant to say. That's where it starts and stops. And so Lulu, because from one pastor to another, she's sitting there eating that up. I think that's what's really going to change her mind about her start wearing this mink coat and dressing different and being different and showing up different. And so I think her church is going to be like, well, you look like that because you either stealing the church's money. That's what I think is going to happen. Or you got that drug money. Okay? Anyway, so Lulu sitting there eating up the sermon. And when I tell y'all, them collection plate was the collection plates was moving faster than Mexican music. Okay, baby, they was passing them gold plates. So y'all remember them gold collection plates? I remember that at my uncle's church. Okay, shout out to my uncle, y'all. He passed away a long time ago, but he had those. Y'all, he had those collection plates. Like that's how they used to be, and I remember that. So the way Meech was looking when his mama put the money in the collection plate, he was like really disappointed, because this is why we stayed broke all the time. And so Terry was like, the house always win. Of course, it's just a little pimping in the pulpit. I'm sorry, y'all. Listen. I'm sorry. I have to call a thing a thing. It is just a little pimping in a pulpit. Okay. I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole, but it just is what it is. Okay, it just is what it is. Again, I don't want to have to feel like I have to justify on my channel how much I love the Lord, because I do. But let's just call a thing when it comes to His people. Okay. Anyway. Detective Vaughn goes back to the dealership. I forgot the name of the dealership, to go harass the lady. He tells, because he found out that Meech and Duffy was there to see that lady. I forgot her name too. So he tell the sales lady. He said, "Bitch, you grimy and you on my list." I was like, oh, okay. And at this point, I just need Detective Vaughn to go, because I get what he's doing, but it just becomes the most sometimes. In a lot of these shows, like Power, these attorneys or detectives, they become very annoying. Like, we always, and I know it's not only me, but a lot of us always have a disdain for a lot of these people that's in these law enforcement spaces when it comes to these shows. Okay, so so in the next scene, we back at the church, and the pastor have a flock of women talking to him. They line up. It's like 4 of them. Okay, y'all know how that go. Okay, if you please refer to my divorced sisters video. Okay. Anyway, Lulu goes up to the pastor. They have a little conversation. I mean, I called him a pimp, but I was like, what, the pastor. And so the pimp said, the pastor, he was like, he gave her some ragged advice of talking about the stars will lead the way. Child, I didn't know what that means. I felt like that was a crock of crap. Okay? And so he also found out that Lucille was a pastor. He also give me, I don't believe in a woman being a pastor. Like, mm, his response to it felt real phony. So in the next scene, B Mickey and his old lady invited Raw Dog over to the house after church for church dinner. I mean for dinner. And I tell y'all I love this because from one parent to the next parent, Charles really extended grace to B Mickey. And this is why I love Raw Dog. Okay? That's my boy. Alright? So Meech and Terry go over to the video shoot of what's her name? Purdy. Y'all know that was the little homely girl from last week who her producer, probably her slash boyfriend, the sketchy nigga that's taking her money, everything from her, just basically using her at this point. He's a jerk. Anyway, Meech, they look at her and they feel like, oh, okay, you know, Meech and Terry decide they want to come up with a, what they call it, with a production company, I guess, for music or whatever. I don't know. So he looked over to see this young woman. Meech was like, oh, okay. She caught his eye. This girl named Maria. She's a makeup artist. She's Purdy's friend and makeup artist. And so he asked her for the number. She was like, baby, I don't know you. I don't know you to be giving out my number like that. Like, mm-mm. So he wrote his number on a napkin and said, call me. I guess we gonna see what that turned into. So Raw Dog is having a conversation with B Mickey, and B Mickey's baby mom. He tells them that he met a woman named Cecilia, and he offers that he liked her and he wanted to take her out. And so they was like, I just think that that's a good idea for me. I think that that's a good idea, okay? Because Lucille won't be where Lucille at, y'all divorced, because B Mickey even mentioned that. He was like, I didn't even know y'all was divorced. And so he was like, yeah. So, of course, Raw Dog offered to fix, because he fixed things around the house. And he offered to fix some stuff at B Mickey's house. And B Mickey was like, well, I can't really pay you. And he was like, you know what? I'll just be here with my tools. And we're going to do what we got to do. When I tell y'all, Raw Dog have a soft spot in my heart. I have a soft spot for Raw Dog. So when I see him, I be like, okay. Like, I got to give Raw Dog some grace. Okay? I'm sorry. This is Raw Dog, Charles Raw Dog Flannery season. Do you hear me? Okay? So, Trail is his name. He's Purdy's producer and a grimy ass nigga who's scamming her out of all of her money. He is very touchy-feely, not just with Purdy, but as they all walked off, he was touchy-feely with her friend and her, the makeup artist Maria. And so when he tried to touch her, Maria just like in disgust moved his arm. But that's what Purdy did as well. Like, he feels like he have all of this access. He's that type of nigga. Like, you got to slice them kind, okay? So he feel like he got access to people like that where I can just touch on you. No, mother, you can't touch on me. Go touch on your mama, but you can't touch on me. Okay? Sorry. Just had to say that. All right? So then we find out that Purdy is into ski sloping. Okay? Use your imagination. So Charles Raw Dog Flannery walk in the room, and when I tell y'all, he came to the room with the little wife beater on, looking like Uncle gave BDE. Okay, he was giving. I was like, Charles, like for me, I was like, Charles, your lunch is ready. They hating on you. You understand? That's what I got when I was looking at Raw Dog. Okay. So Raw Dog, he talks to Lucille and he was like, hey, I want to take this young woman out. And at this point, Lucille tried to fake in front and was like, all right, knowing low key you really mad that this man want to take out another woman. And he was like, who is she? Well, her name is Cece. So if you notice, he didn't give up the real name. She was like, her name is Cece. And so she was like, okay, that's on you. You know, we not together and all of that. I was like, girl, you still be pissing me off. Hold on. So I'm sorry, y'all. Back over at who house? At Meech's house, Jay Pusher comes over. Y'all know Terry is visibly upset because y'all know Terry don't see it for Jay Pusher. Jay Pusher is a snake in the grass. He a grimy ass nigga. He told Meech them he sold most of their work and he got a little bit left. So I don't know what they're gonna do as far as Jay Pusher, but he's trying to like be that guy, I guess, with their product, and he apparently he's gonna try to be that guy with their person, with their connect. I don't know. So in the next scene, Terry is at home. No, I'm sorry, Terry and Markeisha, they're in the car on their way to see Isaac. But Terry stopped. He was sitting in the car and he was looking in the diner and he noticed there was a lot of white guys in there, but not nobody ate their food. So he realized then it was a setup. So he told Markeisha, do you see that? Like, she just so hung go. She don't know. Like, you don't know the ins and outs. You just know the parts that you were able to see. And at this point, Terry feels like, you trying to set me up? Like, was you trying to set me up for the okie doke? Because it seemed like Isaac isn't who he said he is. And so she was like, no, I'm not trying to set you up. And I just felt like, you know, Markeisha has always been a snake. She told Terry, you know, they talked about Meech, and she was like, Meech, no, he was on the phone with Meech and something happened. And she was like, Meech is the only person that can piss you off. And then you played on that. And she was telling Terry, like, you need to be making your side deals with your people behind Meech's back. And it's like, I get what she was saying, but for me, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not in the game. I ain't never been in the game. Y'all look, do I look like, you know, I have my hands in illegalities? Okay, no. So, yeah, no. And so this is where the episode ended, y'all. I guess. Anyway, I will see y'all in the next video. All right.